Dear patriots and change agents, welcome to the Nigerian Leadership Series Town Hall, a proud subsidiary of the for discussions, a proud subsidiary ideas of the promote responsible leadership and advance good governance for our beloved nation. Hosted by Pastor Itwa Igbodalo, President and Founder, this series reflects his vision, which is to promote the emergence of real subsidiary ideas and accountable responsible leadership good governance, and advance good governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. Hosted by Pastor we are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization powered by people which is to promote the emergence of real subsidiary ideas aligned with our responsible leadership and advance cross not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. Hosted by we are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization and tribe which is to promote the emergence of real subsidiary aligned with our responsible leadership and advance project management concepts, but across the continent. We are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization offers opportunities in leadership, individual capacity, social values, under our project management initiative, across projects like hosted we are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization facing food opportunities. Security across 6 states. Our recently commissioned Hope Alive Fund is designed to empower we are building a coalition for participatory governance that works at the grassroots level to strengthen good governance and effective administration at the local government. Africa. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. West African time, live on Zoom. The meeting link is the same, simple, consistent, and open to all. Also, stay connected and inspired all week long and follow us on all our social media as posted. Dear patriots and change agents, welcome to the Nigerian Leadership Series Town Hall, a proud subsidiary of the Africa Leadership Group, powered by the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation. We're so glad to have you here for this weekly virtual town hall, where renowned thought leaders and engaged citizens come together for meaningful discussions that spark ideas, promote responsible leadership, and advance good governance for our beloved nation. Hosted by Pastor Itwa Igbodalo, President and Founder, this series reflects his vision, which is to promote the emergence of real, ethical, and accountable leaders for good governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. We are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization powered by people just like you, individuals whose vision align with ours to drive sustainable development across Africa. At the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, we believe Nigeria's diversity, our cultures, ethnicities, and tribe is our greatest strength. Through initiatives like the Ito Olajide Godalo Real Mentorship Program, project management courses, and the Civic Awareness and Citizens Engagement Programs, our School of Leadership and Governance offers stellar opportunities in leadership training, capacity building, and social development. Under our Community Development Initiative, projects like Feed a Neighbor, Feed a Nation have reached over 2,000 families facing food insecurity across 6 states. In a coalition for participatory governance that works at the grassroots level to strengthen good governance and effective administration at the local government. We invite you to join us on this journey as we lay the bricks one at a time in building a resilient and formidable Africa. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. West African time, live on Zoom. The Mark your calendars, invite a friend, and let's grow together. The Nigeria Leadership Series Town Hall, building leaders, celebrating unity, and shaping Africa's future. See you again next Thursday at 5 p.m. right here on Zoom.
Can we play the national anthem? Aye. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Nigeria Leadership Series. My name is Jumoke Akintaylor, and I'm second VP for the organization. Apologies, Pastor would be joining us. Mr. President will be joining us in a few, maybe as we proceed with the program. So you have me for now, and myself and Faye are here. Pastor Sonny would also be joining us later. So today is a very interesting topic. We decided that it would be good for us to start looking at the bills. I believe it was suggested at the last minute that we have conversations, but we need to even be more involved in what is going on in the Senate and in the House, and what bills are being passed. What input do we have on those bills? So this is a public meeting, so to speak, on some of those bills. And after our conversation here, the intent is to write a cover letter with our recommendations or our comments on the bills, and then send it to the Senate or the responsive individuals that introduce this bill. So this is going to be us. We'll be looking at the bills one at a time. These are some of the what we call important. All bills are important, but these are more of the critical bills. And we also did like the pros and cons on the bills. How does it impact us? What are the benefits of the bills, and what are the disadvantages of the bills? Whether we agree with it or not, that's part of the conversation that we're going to be having today. So it is what we call open mic. And those of you that are familiar with NLS know that we do this often. Nigeria Speaks. So it's having those honest conversation and contributing to what is on the floor. So it's going to be more than the 1 minute timeline today. This is going to be us really getting involved, but we are still going to ask that we keep our comments to the point and also very succinct so that we can have more people chime in. Again, welcome to today's forum. We are so glad to have you here, and we'll get started. So, Faye, if you could project the background, let's just look at the background, the bills from the red chambers, which is the Nigerian Senate. Can this be bigger so that I don't want to, can it be bigger so that people can follow as I read it? Can you make it occupy the whole screen? Yeah. Okay. If not, we'll take it from there, and I can just read it. Can everybody see the slides? Okay.
And zoom in if they can't see.
Yeah,
You can touch.
I have it. I have it. So the
Yeah.
10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, often referred to as the Red Chambers, continues to shape the nation's governance landscape through a wave of bills targeted at reforms, regulation, and institutional strengthening. In recent sittings, the Senate passed two notable bills for concurrence from the House of Representatives: the Federal Road Safety Corps Amendment Bill and the Dementors Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill. Both reflect Nigerians' ongoing legislative effort to promote public safety, health awareness, and professional accountability. Beyond this, several other bills, including the Criminal Code Amendment Bill, Nigeria Mines Ranger Service Establishment Bill, Nigerian Gold Reserve Establishment Bill, and the Federal University of Livestock, Agricultural Technology, and Entrepreneurship Development Bill, highlight the Senate's broader focus on justice, reform, economic diversification, and human capital development. The bills from the Red Chambers does represent more than just legal instruments. They are vehicles for national transformation. They reveal how the legislative interprets Nigeria's evolving challenges, from insecurity and corruption to unemployment, environmental degradation, and public health, and translates them into actionable policy frameworks. However, true legislative leadership goes beyond passing bills. It requires strategic follow-through, robust implementation, and citizens' participation. This is where we come in to ensure that these laws bring real value to governance and daily life. As Nigerians seek to consolidate democracy and accelerate development, understanding the intent, impact, and implications of these bills both becomes vital, not just for policymakers, but for every citizen committed to national progress. So this is where we come in. If we understand these bills, we can also hold them accountable. And this is part of what we are trying to promote as a civil society organization advocating for good governance. If we don't know what's going on in the Senate or with the policymakers, how do we hold them accountable? So it's important that we give our own feedback, send it to them, and follow through. We also need to follow through on the implementations of these policies. What are the KPIs? We as citizens need to also ask them those questions when the time comes. So we are going to start with the bills. Faye, if you could move to the next slide. Okay. This green is hard for me to see, but so the first bill, which is the Federal Road Safety Corps Act amended bill, and this is a brief explanation. The bill amends the act governing the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, to strengthen road safety regulations, empower the FRSC, and presumably improve management of traffic and accidents. So some of the pros or the benefits of it for the government: it improves oversight of road and traffic, which may reduce accident and cost for the state, medical emergency services, potential to project government as responsible on infrastructure and safety. And disadvantages, some of the disadvantages to the government: implementation cost, upgrading FRSC capacity, maybe armed units, training, new equipment, if poorly implemented, may lead to new regulatory burdens or resistance from road users. And to us, the citizens, what are the pros and the benefits? Safer roads, fewer accidents, less loss of life or property, possibly better enforcement of traffic laws, clearer road use expectations. And then the disadvantage, which is quite a bit, to us as citizens, could lead to increased power of FRSC, risk of abuse and harassment. And unfortunately, if there are no consequences, this is a real disadvantage to us. We saw what SARS did to our young people, and what some of the police and military guys are also doing without consequences. Possible new fees, penalties for motorists. If the amendment allows armed FRSC, citizens may fear increased force on the road. Indeed, the bill to arm FRSC personnel was opposed by many. So let's discuss. The first one, this is we've heard the benefits and the disadvantages to the government and to the citizens as well. So let's start off with this first bill, the Federal Road Safety Corp Amendment Bill, and then we'll go to the next one, which is the Dietitians Council of Nigeria. So please go ahead and raise your hand if you would like to comment, and we would like to ask you to also please keep it short so that we can have more people chime in their comments. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Boniface. Good evening, sir. We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead with your comment.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. It's interesting for us to be discussing this. But if you look at it, you're supposed to make sure we are safe on our roads. But the road safety, they don't do that today. What you get is that they are busy chasing, harassing drivers and so on and so forth, and they're busy trying to collect bribes. Now, when you talk of road safety, we have regulations. People should wear seat belts. The conditions of the cars. Drivers. Do we enforce no drinking and no driving? We don't ever get near that. Do we get drivers even to know the road signs and to obey the road signs? Do we have speed limits? Do we have the mechanism to enforce the speed limits on our roads? And when you now talk of road safety, of course, the fiscal authorities have a responsibility. What's the state of our roads? They are in very poor condition. And so we're supposed to have, our cars go through routine examinations to make sure that they are roadworthy. Now, how many of us do that diligently? So you go, you pay money, and you collect your papers. So take even the seat belts. Do we enforce seat belts? Do we enforce people not making calls as they drive? So those are challenges. We leave those ones, and then we begin to chase shadows. For me, those are the important things. Well, I hope I've not missed the target of the conversation.
Not at all, sir. And I think you've brought in very, very good points that we can include in our recommendations, because it has to be holistic, right? It can't be piecemeal. There is always, there are some fundamental issues that need to be addressed with this. And if it's not there, then everything else is kind of shallow or superficial. So as part of our recommendations, all these key points that you've brought in, I think we would include that. If you're looking at amending the road safety bill, these are some of the targets that would benefit everyone. So thank you for those comments. Very much appreciated, and on point too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I don't see any hands up. I don't want to move to the next one without comments. We are asking you to please raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Harold Hussaini. Please go ahead with your comments, questions. We've asked you to unmute. We've asked you to unmute. Are you unable to unmute? Please go ahead and try unmuting now, Mr. Oseni. If not, we'll move to Mr. Kentebe. Mr. Harry Kentebe, please go ahead. Okay,
we
Mr.
discovered
Oseni
that.
has. Go ahead, Mr. Oseni has. Mr. Kentebe, just 1 second. Mr. Oseni has unmuted.
Yes.
And then I'll call
We
on you
discovered
next.
that most drivers, in the first place, have no driving training. In the 1980s, we used to have people get training, do driving tests. So we have to start from the scratch. People have to get trained, have to know the rules and regulation of driving. And that has to be the first thing, because most people don't even know what they should have in their car, what they should not have in their car. They don't have the training. The Okada or the motorcycle drivers don't have training. What are the laws for motorcycle drivers? So we should have a comprehensive reboot. Road laws should be taught. People should be told to go back and do their driving training, because a lot of people just drive. Most of commercial vehicles don't have papers. Anything goes. So we have to start with driving training. People must be trained. And there must be a lot of media on this issue of driving importance. The federal road safety officials should be well trained also, how to do their job in a very professionally. So it has to be well thought out, not just rushed through. There should be retraining of people and also of the officials of the federal road safety. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those comments, and I think it's in line with the comments that Mr. Boniface had also stated. There's a lot of background work that needs to be done before some of these bills can be enacted. So thank you for those comments. Mr. Kentebe, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to join today and to also contribute to building Nigeria. My name is Henry Kentebe. I'm speaking from Toronto, Ontario. So I have 2 points to add. And presently, I sit on the board of Chartered Institute of Trucking Business Management of Canada. And anything to do with transportation is not is part of our regulation. So like everybody has rightly pointed out, is like we are chasing shadows in Nigeria. We know what to do, but we have just decided not to do what is right. You know, things to do with safety is mostly concurrent in nature, and that means the state and the local government and the federal government also have an input in the implementation. Unfortunately, all the powers are residual at the federal, and the states are struggling and the local government is dead. Something to do with safety is best implemented at the state level and at the local government level. So I don't know what the National Assembly are trying to do. If they are not improving the powers of the state regulators on safety and the local government regulators on safety, we are just chasing shadows. It's not going to get anywhere. Part of our regulation at the Chartered Institute of Trucking Business Management of Canada is that the road has to be regulated, the load has to be regulated, the driver has to be regulated, the vehicle has to be regulated. So those are the 4 cardinal points of regulation or regulating transportation in Canada. That means regulating the driver means there has to be hours of service. You cannot just drive endlessly on the road in Canada. There's a limit to how long you can drive as a driver. There's a limit to how long you can take a break as a driver. If you drive 3 hours, maximum you take a break. You have to stop at the nearest regulatory Ministry of Transportation units to get your inspection. So there's so many, it's a whole lot of things when it comes to safety. Regulating the road means road has to be marked. There has to be road signs, there has to be speed limit signs. There has to be all manners of things in designing the road. Regulating the load means there has to be a weight bridge for you to move out of a factory or move out of a warehouse. There has to be a weight bridge to weigh the tonnage of the load you are moving out of the factory, the tonnage of the road you are moving out of the seaport, and different destinations. So I don't know why we cannot just all these things we are struggling to do in Nigeria. It is done perfectly well in other climes. Why can't we just do the right thing? Why can't you just all these senators, they'll go abroad, they are going for peer review, they are just staying in the hotel, they are not bringing any value back to the country. Come on. That's just my point.
This is why we're having this, and thank you for those contributions. So this is part of what will go in that recommendations that we are sending out. Again, it is for us to have those recommendations and then follow up. Part of what we don't do well is following up and holding them accountable. You write a letter, this is the recommendation. What is the follow-up? Do we follow up in another 1 month? Do we actually make appearance at some of these hearings? Do we make sure this goes in the newspapers and more citizens are engaged in this conversation? So we as citizens, we need to do our own part and make sure that our comments, our recommendations get to the lawmakers and they know that we are listening. So thank you for those comments, very much appreciated. I'm going to ask Professor Grange, please go ahead, ma'am. We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead and unmute with your comments.
Thank you very much, Jumoke. I think Mr. Ketebe has said quite a lot about what needs to be said. But let me add that while the lawmakers make laws, they just leave it at making the laws. They don't follow up. And we need to know who are those that will follow up and implement these laws. Implementation is very poor. The result is that people die, and there is no feedback to those who have made the laws about the failure of their laws. The number of people who have died because of accidents on the road, this has to be fed back to them. So in making the laws, they also need to join with other organizations, other institutions like the healthcare and the law, the I don't mean law, the Justice Department and all that. Because apart from people dying, there are those who will take other people to court and all that, and they don't get justice. So there are problems that arise by people not obeying the laws, but nobody is, we don't know how they hope to cope with those problems. For example, let's see, the need to have clear the roads for ambulances. It doesn't happen. The problem is so great that it's not only the lawmakers that have to do with this. We must have other institutions included. So I think I'll stop here. But what I'm trying to say is that even when they're making the laws, other people, other organizations, institutions need to be included so that they know what their own roles are and what will be the consequences if they fail to perform those roles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like this conversation because we're looking at it holistically, and it is in stages, it is in layers. It's not just this is the road safety bill, go and implement, and then that becomes another bill that is passed. And the mechanism for there's no strategic planning, like what are the layers, what needs to be done. And I'm hearing consequences from everyone as well. That's important because a law is only as good as it is implemented. And if there are no consequences, then it means nothing. So thank you for those comments. We'll take the next person. And I think we have a couple more hands up. Then we'll take those hands and then move on. We have 3 hands. We'll take these 3 hands and then move on to the next bill. There are quite a few bills. And I think this is very important for us to have this conversation. Go ahead. I'm not sure. Tammy Matthew, please go ahead with your comments.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, sirs.
Good evening.
I think the first thing, in addition to what everyone has said, is the understanding of the law to the very entering levels staff that would actually implement those laws. And in addition to that, there needs to be enforcement whereby those laws are actually really, really enforced. I just wanted to add to the gentleman that said he's from Canada. I think the states can actually implement their own laws. Back in the days for Governor Fashola, former Governor Fashola, he implemented all the local laws. And Lagos State was very, very, smooth, enjoyable, and they delivered because the law were enforced. So enforcement, people understanding what the law actually meant for them. I was stopped 3 days ago, or actually, we were stopped 3 days ago, and they asked us for every documentation for our car. We presented it. They were looking for every single thing in the car. They found it. And they looked and they said, oh, you don't have a fire extinguisher. And I'm thinking to myself, seriously? A car? A fire extinguisher? It's not a house. So I thought, okay, fair enough. And then they were wanting us to bribe them. But I just looked at the gentleman driving me and I said, so I gave him a side and said, don't bribe them. And they gave us a penalty of 3,000 naira. And they told us to go and pay at Ikeja. The gentleman got to Ikeja and he said, oh, he has to pay extra 5,000 to bribe them. The end was still the bribe. So the poor man wouldn't know what to come back and say to me, knowing fully well that I was not ready to bribe. I just had to say, madam, now, I have to give them 5,000 naira. It was very funny. It's laughable, but it's really annoying that we cannot do anything without bribing. But then that's how he had to get his driving license back, because they took his driving license. It's just because we need to eradicate the mindset that if you don't give, you don't. That's when you know the law. We don't have to bribe to know the law. Once we ourselves knows the law, it's easier for us to say, no, this is my right. This is what you're doing wrong. So the 3 main points for me is the people at the entry level that are going to do the job need to really, really, really understand what they're doing, what the law meant for them, how it will affect them. And then the government, either state or federal, implementing those laws to the T's that everybody knows. During former Governor Fashola's time, you know what would happen if you go on the other side of the road. So it's so important that we really, really understand ourselves as citizens and also the people that are going to enforce the law and the initial entering people as well.
Thank you very much. And if maybe the driver had a section or he knew the section to quote to say by section so and so of the Road Safety Act, you are not supposed to ask for a fire extinguisher. It's not a requirement. I think we arm ourselves with that. We started a program here called Know Your Rights, Know the Law, Know Your Rights, and every citizen should have a little pamphlet with them to kind of show what their rights are. And then in cases like that, they can quote their rights to the police. And there should be consequences for those that still violate the law on the government side. There should be a hotline to report them. So these are some of the recommendations that can go in. I'm going to ask for Dr. Obin to please go ahead with his comments, questions. Okay, and then we'll take Madam Udufalu and we'll move on to the next one. Thank you so much. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I might be, if I repeat anything that has already been said, please ask me to stop because I'm taking a swag at this. I just came on this. One area of interest when it comes to road safety, at least from a historical perspective and even from current situation in our country, is the fact that I don't know if this bill addresses the roadworthiness of the transportation system, for example, public vehicles. Apart from having fire extinguishers in them, what about the mechanical status of the vehicle? What about the tires? What about, in fact, even the person sitting behind the wheels, the driver? We know, everybody knows, I think, most people know, that a lot of people get their driver's license even without knowing where the driver's license testing office is. Does this address that? I don't know. Does this bill address that type of thing? Does the bill say, well, if you've been operating your vehicle for X number of years and we see the wear and tear on the threads of your tires, maybe you are no longer roadworthy. Somebody needs to push you off the road. I think that some of those what seems like minimal things can be done before we even go further to talk about having fire extinguishers in the vehicle. Most of us that have had the privilege and the opportunity to visit other countries, you don't see fire extinguishers in their vehicle because it's the last thing they are going to be thinking about, that their car will catch fire. That essentially means the car itself is roadworthy. What about people driving and drinking behind the wheels? What about the number of passengers in a vehicle that are traveling along the road? I think if we do some of these type of very basic things that make sense to the average human being, perhaps we can minimize the number of accidents we have on our roads. So I think in a nutshell, that's all I would say at this point. I'm sure a lot has been said. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, I wanted to give you your own time. It has also been discussed, so it's part of what we are going to include in the recommendation. And then I'm going to the chat room as well. So please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mojisola Odufalu, and I'm speaking from the US. I just wanted to know or to add to the fact that this might sound a little elitist, but here we have the children know that they're starting to drive at 16. So by 15 in school, they already have the driver's ed. It's called driver's education. And they already know virtually what they need to know about driving, about what to do, about the different level of driver's license they will have, about how many people they can drive with. You know, I know that not every child at 16 in Nigeria would drive, but can we have driver's ed for them, even if they don't need it yet? They will need it someday. As in through the public school system, let it be part of the curriculum at age maybe SS2, SS3 to have at least basic driver's education, knowing the road signs, understanding speed limit, understanding how the roads are designed, the different signages, just making sure it's part of what they learn. And then they won't unlearn it when they get on the road. It becomes because our children just know how to obey rules better than us. Once they learn it, they stick with it. And so we begin to raise a new generation of people who can live by the laws. Unlike those of us who just got on the road by virtue of the fact that my daddy's driver taught me how to drive. They said, get back. It's different with us. So I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to read a comment from Madam Nike Fakoya, who had mentioned the same thing you had said and said, I'm just going to read it from the chat room. It says, our schools, workplaces, about integrating, I don't know why my computer is stuck. But her comments basically say something about driver's education, incorporating it into civic education, in our schools, workplaces, markets, through radio jingles and social media, so that Nigerians are better informed and empowered. That is a very good contribution. So we have we're welcoming Mr. President is in the room, and Pastor Sonny is also in the house. We now have, they've joined us. So welcome, SARS. We're glad you're here. We just finished discussing the road safety bill, and we're moving to the next one. So, Mr. President, any comments from you before we move to the next one? Oh, Faye, have you made him co-host so that he can unmute? Okay. Go ahead, sir.
No comments, that's fine. Just keep going.
Okay. All right. So the next one.
Thank you very much.
The next one we are going to be talking about is...
Hello, Madam Moderator. Sorry, ma'am. I think I have something important to say. I'm very sorry. I've been listening. But I think there's something important I need to let the House know.
Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So there is this something, when you apply for your driving license that you want to drive, and they answer you, and they send you to a particular place to go and do driving tests. I tell you this, and I'm not kidding about it. You get there, the questions are like 50 or more, and they ask you immediately there, can we do it for you? And you pay 3,000. I'm not kidding. I can say, because I'm a researcher, I've been there like 3 times just to confirm this. 85% of the people who go there will have these people doing it for them. And so you collect that certificate, you go and then tender it, and you get a driver's license. Because I know that if they are not doing that, if that corruption is not taking place there, and people come out with failure, people will actually be encouraged to learn driving. So if there's anything that has to be done, if there's anything that has to be checked, it will be these offices where people say they do driving tests. Thank you. That's the contribution. It happened to me. So I know what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. I think that's important because part of the comments or the recommendations that came forth is having those institutions where we can go take the test. But you're saying that it does exist. It's just not enforced, right? Because I can go pay 3,000 or 5,000 naira, and someone will give me a driving, or I will be able to pass the test. So thank you for that. We're going to move into the next one. The next bill we'll be discussing is Dietitian Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill. And the bill is to establish a regulatory council for dietitians in Nigeria. The Dietitian Council of Nigeria, the council would regulate the profession of dietetics and nutrition, ensuring standards for training, registration, practice, and public education. And the benefit or the pros to the government, it helps the government promote better public health outcomes, nutrition-related, says disease costs a lot. It enables better regulation of nutrition professionals, which may reduce waste and mispractice or malpractice. And the disadvantage to the government, setting up the council costs money, staff office regulation. The government must monitor its effectiveness because they have to regulate it. If it becomes merely regulatory with low enforcement, the costs may outweigh the benefit. And to us citizens, the pros and the benefits, citizens get professional standards for dietitians, better quality of nutrition advice, potential for improved public health awareness, preventing disease-related disease and malnutrition. And then the disadvantage to us citizens, if the council imposes high registration training costs, smaller practitioners may be excluded or pass costs to clients, potential for regulatory capture or bureaucracy that slows service provision. So let's discuss. Anyone don't see any hands raised for this one, comments? Okay, go ahead, sir. Mr. Boniface, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You know, when you talk about the Dietitian Council, you know, what comes to mind is the fact that we're having too many of these establishments all over the place. it could be important, but can't we subsume this sort of service within the teaching hospitals and so on and so forth? Well, not being a medic, I don't operate in that space. But it sounds to me, we have all these institutions, we create them, multiply them, and we barely have them managed. And as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most Nigerians are concerned, when you talk of dietitian, you're talking of really how to organize your eating and so on, what to eat, to bring good health. Now you have a country where you have 130 million people, multi-dimensionally poor. And you're talking of really, what food to eat. When you get a bar, you are really happy. You get bread, you're happy. But I think that is something that on the surface, I hope that the medics amongst us here will be able to contribute and tell us, why this is so important for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Any additional comments? Those from the health profession, why is this bill important to national development? Is it something that we should be spending our efforts and time on? Go ahead, Mr. Kentibe, we've asked you to unmute. Can you unmute?
Yeah,
okay,
hello?
Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much. What we need to ask is, this dietitian council, is it under the Federal Ministry of Health? Because just like Mr. Boniface said, we are just duplicating a lot of this regulatory oversight. Because I don't even understand the dietary. Some of these things can be done at self-regulatory level. Let these dietitians in Nigeria come as a self-regulatory body and not take a bill to the National Assembly. By then, they will want to allocate money, budget every year for the council. They are spending overhead, 90% overhead, 10% capital, all those nonsense. So we need to ask, I don't know if we can get more insight into this bill. Is it being sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Health, or where is it coming from? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very good point. We can find out. Maybe we can do a quick search on who. I think we do have information on who sponsored the bill. Maybe you can just take a quick look at our research and see if there is additional information we can present to the House. But good points that you have brought up. It should go under the Federal Ministry of Health, or as Mr. Boniface had also stated, it could be under the hospitals or health centers. Thank you. Dr. Mrs. Quincy Ayodele, please go ahead and unmute with your comments. We've asked you to unmute.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Quincy Ayodele. Yes, the bill is very important and very necessary. I have been in the weight loss business for over 30 years in Nigeria, and I've done a lot of advocacy for using nutrition to fight obesity. But what I discover is Nigerians they are not yet familiar with the word diet or to diet. They think if you say you have to diet, they think it's foreign to them. They don't know that you can even use our local food to diet or reduce your portion. Do you understand? So if the bill is passed, there has to be a lot of advocacy for Nigerians. Let them educate them that diet doesn't mean that you must be eating foreign foods all the time. Even amongst our own local foods, they're very healthy, and you can actually use it to manage your health, to prevent all these chronic diseases. I mean, you can use our local food to prevent diabetes, even to reduce it or even to manage it. But Nigerians are yet to, from my own experience in the practice, they don't even want to hear anything diet. They want to continue to eat bread, amala, yam, and everything at their own time. and still have a good health, which cannot be possible. So we need like education, like TV programs, enlightenment, and people have to actually, dietitians and professionals have to actually go out, not just one person. I mean, telling everybody, educating them, just as we were able to educate how they can use medicinal plants to heal themselves. And most of the COVID forced them back to nature. So we can actually come out and mass and educate them about dieting, about eating healthy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so the question on the floor is, should we have a council that regulates the dietitian's profession as a profession? So thank you for those comments. Go ahead, Professor Grange.
Thank you very much. Nutritional diseases are really quite prolific among us. They cannot be handled only by dietitians. So the educating people on diet, etc., is taken up by different arms of the health sector. However, the dietitians do have a specialist position in maybe teaching others, educating other members of the medical profession, nurses, etc., so that the messages can be carried by everybody. We cannot rely on just the handful of dietitians that we have to make a difference to our diet in Nigeria. But I would say that dietitians, yes, they are specialists in knowing in the education of diets, but they need to know that they are to give service has to do more with training others to assist them to carry out that role. Thank you.
But should there be a council?
Oh, yes, there
Or a
should be a
body
council.
that regulates the
Oh,
profession
definitely.
and establishes the standard, because that's what the bill
Definitely,
is saying.
there
Okay,
should be a
so
council.
there should be a council.
Yes,
Okay,
there should be a council.
and
Thank you.
also just additional information about the bill. It was presented by Mr. or Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele of Ekiti Central. That he's the one that introduced the bill. And so I'm just going to give a little background just to follow up on the question. The Dietitians Council of Nigeria is currently, why nutrition and dietitians dietetics are crucial to national health and wellness, there is no dedicated legal framework or regulatory body overseeing the training standards, registration, and ethical practices for dietitians. So someone can just label themselves a dietitian and bring some agbo together and start marketing it as something. So the gap has led to a proliferation of unqualified practitioners, misinformation about nutrition, and inconsistent dietary care in hospitals, schools, and public health. So that is the background. That is why this bill was being introduced. I hope that has clarified. I think Mr. Kentibe was the one that raised that. So, and it's going to also, the purpose is to ensure only qualified professionals can practice as dietitians or nutritionists in Nigeria. So no one can just pop up a shop and begin to offer those services. It also promotes public health awareness about proper nutrition, disease prevention, and healthy lifestyle. And then it supports the government health policies by strengthening preventive care, reducing malnutrition, and diabetes, obesity, and other diet-related diseases. So the question is, yes, but should it be under the the Ministry of Health? So thank you for those additional comments, Faye. I'm going to ask Ms. Temi, Matthew, and then Antibola Adetula, and then we'll move on to the other bill. Please go ahead, Ms. Temi. We've asked you to unmute.
Good evening again, Ma. I think it should be regulated. And I also think, apart from being regulated, it's very painful. I love food and I eat African food. And I just enjoy Nigerian food. Everyone knows that where I am. But the painful part is for every food where I am, there is an application whereby you can know the calorie of each of the food you're taking in. Even our popular jollof rice. A lot of people come to my house and say, teach me, I'm going to uni, teach me to cook jollof rice. These are all English people. And then they'll say, oh, please teach me how to cook. Okay. And then they turn around to me and say, do you know the calorie? And I just eat my brain and go, sorry, I don't. Even our measurement, we don't have, because I grew up, my mom just put 2 spoons of this and 3 spoons of this. And I just know the quantity automatically at the back of my hand. So all those things are so important, whereby we know that, 4 Maggie cubes carries so calorie. This is the impact he has on my body. This is the effect he will have. He will give me too much energy. Okay, this is and those things are so important. So you go to a hospital, they give you, oh, you're having a child. They say, okay, yeah, you need to reduce your calorie. I just couldn't reduce mine. Just couldn't reduce my calorie because all I eat is Nigerian food. Even though I don't eat it by in the morning or by in the afternoon, but it's still Nigerian food. It's plantain, it's fried egg. So we definitely need this in Nigeria. But then it just needs to be done in a professional and in a very, whereby they can be held accountable as well. So yes, we need it. Two, we need to have, system that helps people to count the calories of what they're eating. People with knowledge. Yes, my mom coming. People are knowledgeable of what they're eating, and it's totally well regulated that people can be held accountable to exactly, what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments. Ms. Adetula, please. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. And I just want to find out, I hope it's not too late for me to make my comments on the road safety people, the FR, whatever it's called. Because I can't hear. I just joined.
Okay, you have the floor. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now, I want to just draw the attention to who is in charge of who will check the abuse of alcohol and other substances by the drivers. Very, very important. And right now, all these companies that make all these alcohol drinks are now packing them in sachets. So you see some drivers even holding the sachet with the left hand and then the steering with the right hand while still driving, even drinking it. You see them go, yes. I have seen one that I had to go and park right in front of him. I blocked him with my car and I opened his door that, look, Mr. Driver, this is very wrong. This happened on Ozumbambadi Way on Victoria Island. So whose responsibility? Is it the road safety guys or the police or who? Thank you, sir. Something has to be put in it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And your comments are well noted. We would include that. So in the absence of additional comments on those on the Dietitian Council bill, we are going to move to the third bill, which is the Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025. And this is a brief explanation. This is an amendment to the Criminal Code Act, Cap C-38, dealing with offenses of defilement, rape, kidnapping, and other sexual offenses. Key changes: life imprisonment for defilement of minors, minimum 10 years for rape, male or female victims, removal of gender bias, elimination of statute of limitation for defilement. And the pros for the government: stronger deterrence may reduce sexual offenses and child abuse, reducing social cost, health, legal rehabilitation. Government shows a commitment to human rights, child protection, and reputation boost. And then the disadvantages to the government: implementation may strain judicial and prison systems, more long-term sentences. I don't even know if that's a disadvantage. Without supporting infrastructure, investigation, persecution, victim support, tougher laws may lead to actual enforcement, raising criticism. The advantages, the pros for the citizens, for victims and society, stronger protections and longer sentences may improve justice, reduce impunity, recognition that rape can happen to any gender, removing bias means more inclusive justice. And then this disadvantage to the citizens is if enforcement is weak, the law may create expectations that cannot be met, causing disillusionment. Longer sentences may increase prison populations, possibly increasing government cost of prison overcrowding, which affects citizens indirectly. Some civic society groups may worry about unintended consequences, overly punitive measures, risk of misuse. So that is the bill, that is the Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill of 2025. Auntie Bola, do you still have your hand up? You want to talk about this? Or
Yes,
was it?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Please go ahead, ma.
Yes, thank you very much. I don't know where this will be inserted, but there's something that Nigerians have now overlooked. What happens to citizens who have been charged to court, who have been found to be who are now criminals, yes, and then they have even served prison terms. But before that, those prison terms, they have been given national honors. What happens to them? Will they still retain the honors or not, or will be withdrawn? Because nobody is addressing that. Everybody sees everybody as, they are criminals, period, pure and simple. And they have not been given any, what do you call it now, by the presidency? They have not been given any pardon. So I don't know where this can come into, because it's a serious offense. I don't want to be personal to mention certain people, but we have them in Nigeria.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think as part of the recommendation, anyone that has been convicted of a crime that has national honors should be stripped of that national
Thank
honor.
you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh,
all right.
Thank you.
Noted. We would. So Mr. Harold Hosseini, please go ahead, sir. We've asked you to unmute.
I am involved in prison ministry. And from my involvement, I found out prisons are training centers of criminality. So to sentence a sex offender or any kidnapper or whatever, any type of offender into prison, the prisons make them worse. Even rape goes on in prisons. So you're just training people to be worse. And then secondly, let's look at what are the causes of rape. What are the causes of this defilement that's going on? Internet, sex, porn on the internet. A lot of things that go on the internet promote and encourage people to do these things. Many people get into all these things through what they watch on the internet. So we have to be preventive. We have to watch, we have to have sensors on TV, sensors on internet. There's a lot of work to do because a lot of youth are going to a lot of stuff because of a lot of things they hear or see on social media. So it's not just only breaking laws to arrest people or to sentence people. We have to do a lot of preventive work. There has to be a lot of counseling for youths, counselors, psychological training, because a vast thing. A lot of youth are involved in a lot of things, pornography and all that, and those things encourage people to act perversely. So it's not just something as simple. We have to look at really training people, making this mental health to come to the forefront, because it's a mental health problem. And then we have to have prisons don't put hardened prisoners with less criminals, because they will learn bad things from the prison. So a lot of work has been done. The prison system has to be overhauled for the prisons to be really correctional centers, not for punishment, for light punishment and correction, so the person comes out being better. Education must go on in prison. Prisons must have educational services so that people will be better when they come out of prisons, and good prison counselors. God bless you.
Thank you very much. So rehabilitation in prisons, more rehabilitation than punitive. So this is not that you are against prison sentences, but it should be more reformative. Thank you so much, sir. Go ahead, sir, Mr. Boniface.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. I listened to part of the discussions in the Senate. I find that the focus is on a number of years of sentence and so on and so forth. I think that we are missing the wrong end of the stick. I think what's the fact that stares us on the face is that rape cases are being underreported. I think this is obvious. They are being underreported. The stigma attached and so on. It happens within families, and so they are being suppressed. I think the focus, if we're going to do something that is going to move the needle in this respect, we should be looking at things that, how do we encourage reporting? How do we make sure that these cases are brought to light? That's the first thing. And the other thing again is that it would seem also not to looking at what would prevent and create environments that would not be enabling, for people to commit rape. I think it's very important. You go to the hospital and a male doctor, you want to investigate a lady, and it's going to be intervention and so on. They insist that a nurse should be there, that kind of thing. So we should look at that, not just number of years, life sentence, and so on and so forth, but it's not being reported. And so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your comments. In the absence of additional comments on this bill, can we move to the next bill so that we have time to go through them? I don't see any other hands up, so we'll move to the fourth bill, which is the Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Okegbo, Ondo State Establishment Bill. And the brief explanation, the bill is to establish a Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery in Okegbo, Ondo State. It was, however, stepped down because the federal government decided to pause establishing new higher institutions for 7 years. So we don't need to discuss that. And then bill number 5, maybe we should now move to bill number 5. Or does anyone have any comments? It was paused, so I don't know if we should be talking about something that has been paused. Bill, Federal University of Livestock, Agricultural Technology and Entrepreneurship, Mutumbiu Establishment Bill. A bill to establish a federal university focused on livestock, agricultural technology and entrepreneurship in Mutumbiu. Purpose, build human capital relevant for agricultural development. That is the explanation. And then the pros or the benefits to the government align with government strategy of agriculture, diversification of economy away from oil, will create specialized workforce, may attract research and investment in agriculture. The cons or the disadvantage to the government, establishment cost is large, infrastructure, staff, operational cost. If demand is low or linkage to industry weak, waste of resources. If linkage to industry is weak, then it's waste of resources. And to us, the citizens, the pros or benefit, citizens, especially rural communities, gain access to higher education tailored to agricultural entrepreneurship skills. Long-term benefit, improve productivity, livelihood in agriculture. Disadvantage to us citizens, if located far away, access may still be limited for people without means. If not properly funded, quality may be compromised. That remains a real issue for us. So I have Mr. Howard Oseni and Mr. Boniface. I have your hands up. Please go ahead. We've asked you to unmute.
It's a very good idea But the problem is most of our agricultural research institutions, most of our agricultural colleges, the research work, the ideas they produce do not get to the public. We have IITA. IITA produces wonderful ideas. They have foreigners working in IITA. But the produce of IITA get to the farmers, get to local people. In such, we have so many. FIRO is there, which produce processed agricultural products. Cocoa Institute of Nigeria is there. Federal Forest Research of Nigeria is there. NIHOT is there. There's so many organizations, but the research work does not get into the farmers. Our companies are not making use of them. So having an institution, which there's a gap between the common man and the research institutions and colleges. There are not a lot of things even are not being implemented. So we just have wonderful ideas. Imagine we heard this story, I don't know if it's true, about NIFOR producing palm kernels, and the palm kernels were sent to Malaysia, and Malaysia is now the world's highest producer of palm kernels, 70% of palm kernels in the world. Why wasn't Nigeria? We had the NIFOR, but we don't use our products, we don't use our hybrids, we don't use our innovations. That's the problem. There is a gap between real society and educational institutions. Abroad, educational institutions work with the public, they work with big companies, companies use their research work. But here in Nigeria, it's just there, research work is just left on the cupboards, and nothing is done about them. In fact,
what would your recommendation, sir? What would your recommendation to this bill that is being proposed would be?
There has to be a format by which everything being done in universities and research institutions is transferred to the public, utilized by industries. There must be private and public partnership. There must be a body that ensures that all these things we are doing, and it's done abroad, in Malaysia and so many countries, they make sure that the things get to the common man. So there's a working understanding. The lecturers just, it's as if they call it ivory towers. They're just there in the university, and all the thing is used for the university. But there must be collaboration between the private and the public sector. There must be working understanding between the professors and being the corporate world. So these things are being utilized in the corporate world, are being utilized and get down to the farmers. There should be research officers who go to from farm to farm to give their ideas to educate the farmers. Probably on radio they should do that, on social media they should do that. In Rwanda, the farmers have access to teachings by social media. So there should be farmers should be called, invited, and these research officers should go to the farms all over the villages, from village to village, and teach people whatever the ideas, whatever research work has come down to the grassroots. It must get to the grassroots, must be compulsory. There must be ministry dealing with it in each local government.
That makes sense. So there has to be a way to translate what is being learned at these universities to the grassroots or to the common man on the farms. Thank you. Great recommendations. Go ahead, Mr. Boniface. We just want to ask everyone else. There are like over 100 of us on this platform. Please go ahead and chime in. This is our opportunity to send our comments on this bill. So please raise your hand and contribute. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, you see, when I listen to those things, my concern is that the ones you have on ground, they're not being well funded. Fiscal authorities are challenged. So you have a situation where if you show diligence in repaying your debts, you're spending over 80% of what you earn to repay your debts, and we're still mounting the debts. We are still accumulating the debts, and so when you now begin to talk of creating new universities and so on and so forth, for me, it rubs me on the wrong side. But I say to myself, those you have on ground, they're not being well catered for. And so we have schools of Greek, some other places, and so on and so forth. Why not try and make sure that we concentrate, and make them, places of excellence where some of this is could be done. And when you look at it at the end of the day, it's all politics we are playing. So we're not trying to make sure that these things are put everywhere, outreach and so on and so forth. I think that's the major problem I have with all these recommendations. Thank you very much.
So our recommendation is not to establish another one, but to develop the resources to strengthening the institutions that exist and having a curriculum that addresses this issue at the existing establishments that we have. That would be the recommendation from you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Kentebe, this is going to be the last hand we take before we move to this next bill. This is of interest to me. Go ahead, Mr. Kentebe, with your comments. We've asked you to unmute. Please go ahead and unmute. I think you may have. You can unmute now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I just want to take us back to the dietitian.
No,
bill.
sir. You can't.
No,
you can't
just 1 minute. No, 1 minute. It's just 1 minute, man. Just 1 minute,
Send us your comments. I'm sorry, I have to be strict about this. We can't keep going back. We have 3 more bills.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, please, just for us to kind of stay on course. Thank you so much for understanding. The bill number 6, Nigeria Mines Rangers. No, Nigeria Mines Ranger Service Establishment Bill. And then we have the Nigeria Gold Reserve Bill. Those are the 2 last bills that we're going to be talking about. The Nigeria Mines Ranger Service Establishment Bill of 2023, a bill to establish a mines ranger service to combat illegal and artisanal mining, secure mineral resources, reduce environmental damage and criminality in areas. The pros or the benefit to the government: it helps government protect mineral resources, increases revenues, reduce loss from illegal minings, may improve regulation and attract legitimate investment into mining. The disadvantage to the government requires setting up new service and often working in challenging remote areas, risk of conflict with local communities, artisanal miners, if not handled sensitively. And to benefit citizens in mining areas may benefit from better environmental protection, safer mining practices, more stable, nationally improved mining regulations, may create job and economic activities. And disadvantage to us citizens: if the service becomes heavy-handed, it may clash with artisanal miners who lack alternatives, causing social unrest. If job losses in informal livelihood that is causing, there's a lot of insecurity in the areas that have resources, these resources that are being tapped illegally. And then I have Mr. Boniface hand up. Please go ahead and contribute.
Yes.
Your hand will call you, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I think that the problem we have with mining is that besides
go ahead, sir.
Okay, I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. The problem we have with mining in this country is that it's not being properly organized. In the south, we have oil. They come and they extract the oil and it's put into the national federal accounts. But the mining is done up north, and it's all being done by non-state actors to a large extent. And if you go beyond non-state actors, you have the state governments, also getting in on the act. So I think that the first thing we need to do is that there's no equity, there's no justice. We are not doing it the way it should be done. So it's a national resource which we must try and tap for the benefit of the entire country. So I think for me, that's the first challenge we need to address in mining. Thank you.
Thank you very much. problems everywhere. So apologies. Okay. Pastor Sonny, you wanted to say something? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. No, I didn't want to say anything. Did I raise my hand?
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. So Professor Grange, please go ahead. My apologies, the internet threw me out. So it happens everywhere in the world. Professor Grange, we've asked you to unmute. Go ahead, ma.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'm not happy about this bill because it's not serious enough. It's I mean, this is we're trying to deal with our resources, the major resource in Nigeria, and it has to. The bill has to be stronger than this. The background must be given. That is that there is a lot of illegal mining. And so there must be a strong bill that will stop that. I don't see anything in this bill that's going to stop that. You know, all that it's saying is that there is need for a bill. And, you know, people are already mining, and this bill is to affect those who are already mining. First of all, should they be mining? Well, you know, the bill has to state categorically the who should be mining. You see, we've got a constitution that allocates resources at federal, state, and local government level. What is happening now within the constitution? Is it the states that should be mining, or is it federal, or you know? So I think this bill is too wishy-washy, really. I
So
believe that.
the bill, if I may
Yeah.
just add, is to establish mines ranger services. So almost like a mines police oversight, and their function would be to combat illegal and artisanal mining and to secure the mineral resources. So they would be some kind of enforcement agency or police, so to speak, that would be combating illegal mining. But to your point, there needs to be clear establishment or of what illegal mining is, who is responsible for mining and things like that. Is that part of what I'm hearing as part of our recommendation?
Exactly. I
Okay.
think yeah.
Okay.
They need to go deeper into that bill, or have
Okay.
another
Move it
one.
more.
And then yes, and then create avenues for enforcement, you know.
All right.
Thank you.
Avenues for enforcement.
Yes.
We know who introduced this bill so that we can address this directly to them. Well, we know who introduced all this bill, so when we are writing our recommendations, it will be addressed directly to them. Do we have any other comments on this bill, bill number 6? Peter Kentebe, it would be great to have all of you please chime in. Thank you, Mr. Kentebe, for chiming in. We've asked you to unmute, but we want to hear from others as well, from all of us here, so that our comments are comprehensive. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Kentebe.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the problem, just like Professor Grange said just now, is some of these things, we have a lot of activity going on at the federal level. We don't have anything going on at the state and the local government. That is the problem. The federalism that we are practicing has made other federating units redundant. When you talk of regulating businesses, it's not just the federal government. In fact, more of the responsibility should be the states. You know, the oil that is being explored in Canada, federal government has no business with Abata, does as its wish. Because when the price goes up, Abata smiles. When the price goes up, they are going to get the hit. So, you know, I don't know why. It's only in Nigeria that you have businesses. Mining is a business. It should be regulated by the state. That's why, we have all these bills. It's just big government, creating bogus entities that we don't need. I was trying to chip into the dentistry that the other time. It's just because of the big government. They are going to create another agency. They are going to create another budget. They are budgeting. The Quran is being regulated by the engineers. They should just throw it out. We don't need it.
So this
we have forest rangers, that are doing some of these policing.
Services.
Policing. What do they call it? Ungovernable space. A very difficult to govern space. That's the word. We have forest rangers already. Even those ones, we don't even know what they are doing. We want to create miners, police for mining again. At the end of the day, they will budget billions of naira, and So, if my own point is just that the federalism that we are practicing is not the right one. And that always comes back to hit us. Thank you.
So thank you very much. So if I can summarize your comment, is strengthen the forest rangers that we have. There's no need to create a new miners rangers. Train what we already have and make them more effective to do this work. Okay, thank you very much. Lara Alagbada, please go ahead with your comments. I'll take, then we'll take Taiwo, I don't have a last name, and then Auntie Yemisi. So go ahead, Lara. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I have a quick comment on this particular bill. Like Mr. Kentebe said, I believe also Mrs. Ransom Kuti. I want to add to that. First of all, we need to define the people that qualify to have mining licenses. Like Mr. Kentebe said, once we define those people, then they get licenses and they are responsible for getting security to protect their areas that they have been assigned licenses for. We don't have a situation where, for example, we have all these oil companies that have licenses where we now have security protecting their sites where they're mining from. For me, it's just another avenue to corruptly enrich themselves or enrich people, and then just waste time on things that don't need to be done. I suggest that when we're putting this comment in there, our feedback, we should suggest to them that they need to get qualified people, issue their mining licenses, and then it's just government oversight of what they're doing, and they're responsible for their own security. Those are my comments.
Thank you very much for those comments. I'm going to have Taiwo Ayedun. Please go ahead with your comment. We've asked you to unmute.
Thank you. Thank you so much for organizing this program. Very quickly, I think it's very important for us to sort of go back in history a little bit and understand that the reason why Africa and Nigeria was colonized is because of the resources on our lands, right? Now, they granted us independence, which is called flag independence in 1960. But the people who rose to the helms of affairs and the helms of power in Nigeria, they recognize also that those resources still remain. And the reason why they have concentrated power in the federal government is to continue to enjoy the resources that the colonists also enjoyed. And of course, in cahoots with the colonists. There's absolutely no reason to believe that the people that reside on the lands on which these resources are cannot protect themselves. We don't need national forest guards, okay? What we need is to allow these people, the gentleman who talked about we are practicing the wrong federalism, he's right, okay? We have to recognize that it is the fact that those who are at the federal government level, they understand the power they have. They're not going to give it up. We can have these meetings forever, okay? They will not give up that power because that power gives them direct access. That's why they're using federal resources everywhere. EFCC, forest rangers. Why can't the people at the local level, are they not human beings? Are they not able-bodied? They are able-bodied. But the Constitution prevents them from policing themselves. It prevents them from getting arms that they can use to protect their territory. Ideally, these people, they're able to manage those resources, they're able to issue licenses, okay, because it's on their lands. Then the federal government can at least just get a portion of the money derived from it. That is the right solution. All of these things where we're expecting the federal government to do the right thing, they're not going to do the right thing, okay? The army, the Nigerian army that's supposed to defend Nigeria is now fighting within Nigeria. Why? They cannot cover the entire territory. It's much better for us to allow the people at the local level to police themselves, okay, and let the federal government face the border of Nigeria, and prevent these illegal people from coming in, these bandits, these so-called terrorists. You know, the federal government doesn't want to give up this power for a good reason. They're enjoying the resources while they're keeping us down. We have to really recognize what's going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those contributions. And that recommendation is to allow, similar to Lara's recommendations as well, which is to allow them to govern the spaces by themselves. Thank you. Auntie Yemisi, please go ahead with your comments and questions, and then we'll move to the last bill.
Thank you so much, Jumoke. Well, I really like some of the comments I've been hearing. Mr. Kentebe, Mr. Ayedun, spoke so eloquently about decentralization and how much of the governance should really be happening at the subnational levels. That's really important. We should stress that time and time again when they bring up these bills. And the fact that stakeholder engagement with the beneficiaries, the practitioners, those who are affected by the bills, if you want people to follow laws and guidelines, they must be part of the process of developing those guidelines and those bills and those laws. Then they will own it. You won't have to police them so much. You just heard about in Japan when their toll gate it was not working, people passed through for free, but they went back voluntarily and paid. So when people own the process and feel that it is to their benefit to have these things work, they're likely to make it more effective. And finally, it is more important, well, just as important, let me put it that way, to ensure that we make sure that the right people are in the helms of affairs, in the leadership, the elective, whether through elections or through appointments, or through whatever processes we bring our leadership cadre into the positions where they make decisions on our behalf. Having the right people there, people who have credibility, who have integrity, is so important, because we all go, look at what's happening in America, where people go through all the trouble, they make the laws, and one man just comes and says, man, forget it, I'm going to pardon this one, I'm going to unjail this one, and and then you have a lawless society, more or less, and that is what a country like America is descending to, in spite of how many years of having practiced the democracy they've rammed down our throat. So, I mean, those 3 points I really want to make: decentralizing, ensuring stakeholders are properly involved in the process of enacting laws and deciding on the parameters, and being, as somebody said, those who are actually going to implement those laws, who are going to police it, who are going to police themselves and make sure that it works, so that we don't have a police state where we are looking for people to hire to come and make us do what is right. And finally, to make sure that whoever we put in office politically, in whatever level, in our communities, in our schools, in our hospitals, are people that have integrity. And we can only do that too by making sure that those of us who are campaigning for this reformation, this right thinking, this doing the good thing, doing the right thing, and doing the right thing properly, not just anyhowly. You say you are doing it, but you've done it, but it's not up to scratch. Are people who also lead by example. Thank you very much for allowing me to contribute. Well done, Jumoke. Well done, ALG, for giving us this opportunity to engage.
Thank you very much, Ma, for your comments. And we're going to take the last one, which is Bill number 7, Nigeria Gold Reserve Establishment Bill 2024. And the brief explanation is a bill to provide legal and institutional framework for a national gold reserve industry framework in Nigeria, formalizing the gold sector and increasing domestic value capture. There's something that says we probably have a very high gold reserve, more than I think. I will talk about that. There's a video. And then the benefit to the government, or the pros, may boost government coffers through formal goods sector, reduce illicit flows, attract investment, increase productivity, create export revenue. The disadvantage to the government requires strong regulatory capacity, risk of corruption, must impose robust controls, if not managed well, may lead to social conflict over resource control, maybe may lead to another. Then for the citizens, the benefit to us citizens citizens may benefit from more formal jobs in the gold sector, better standards, environmental protection, increased state revenue could translate into more services if managed well. And then the advantages, if formalization displaces informal miners without alternatives, communities may suffer. If revenue doesn't translate into improved public services, citizens see no benefit. So let's discuss. This is Bill number 7, Nigeria Gold Reserve Establishment Bill of 2024. Go ahead, sir. We've asked you to unmute. Mr. Boniface?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. I think this is a very important bill, because the problem we have in this country is that over concentration on fossil fuel, petrol and so on. But there are other sources where we can diversify the economy, and we are punching below our weight in those areas. There's gold. We have gold even in the West here, and gold is high value. It's something that I think that we need to get ourselves a lot more organized, and so that we can tap on such resources, to the greater benefit of all of us. Oil is a wasting asset, and for this country, I don't think we've done that well by being concentrating overly on oil and oil and oil. So it's something we said about mining. I also say about gold. I think so. I have gold in this country, and I think that if we concentrate, we can even find more of what you have in this country. So I think that is something that is welcome, and it's about time that we focus attention on this, because this country needs greater and more resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your contributions. Any more comments? I don't see any hands up. I think this is a very important bill that we need to chime in on. I saw a video, and I was looking for that video for us to play, that says the gold we have in reserve is probably the largest. From what I heard, it surpasses that of Ghana. And also that Nigeria, we supply Dubai, or the gold that we've taken to Dubai, to the gold market in Dubai, we are the largest supplier of gold, raw material, raw gold to Dubai. And I thought that was really, and it's not the government. It's not coming to the coffers of the government. These are individuals that have illegally mined this gold, and they've transported it. I think you guys have seen a lot of videos of helicopters in the middle of Zamfara, and we know what's going on in Zamfara right now, the unrest in those areas. So I think this is a very, very important bill for us to pay attention to, but even more so recommend how do we put the guardrails in place for this very important reserve, and not just to mine it and increase our coffers, but how do we protect Nigerian citizens that's their land, and they don't lose their lives because people want to mine their gold. So these are some of the things that I think there's a social component, or there's a human component of this that we must also include in this bill. Ms. Temi, I'm going to take those that haven't spoken, if you don't mind, just because I just see new hands up, and then I'll come to you if that's okay with you. I'm going to have Chudi go ahead, and then I would also have Sister Ngozi. Please go ahead. Chudi, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Okay. Good
everyone.
evening. Welcome. Thank you.
I just wanted to find out, with all these bills that are being passed, especially for the mining, do we have punitive measures for the illegal miners? I recall some months ago, they arrested some Chinese people and they had to deport them. They put currently some are in the prison now, facing allegations of illegal mining, and most of our resources are going. So I don't know if this bill also addresses consequences of illegal mining, because I know a lot of African countries like Uganda and Co, they take it very seriously. So and South Africa, so I don't know if this bill also seeks to look at that. Thank you.
I think that would be another recommendation we can put in, to look at the consequences for illegal mining. What are those consequences for foreigners and nationals that partner with them? Because those Chinese people did not just come from China. Someone brought them there. So we can include that in the recommendation, or even find out more as we prepare our recommendation. So thank you for those comments. I'm going to have Sister Ngozi, please go ahead with your comments. We've asked you to unmute.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, good evening. Good afternoon.
Yeah, so lots of bills that have been thrown out now. Nigeria is, every part of Nigeria is bedeviled by corrupt practices. The people who are engaging in the illegal mining are the same top government officials and the same people who are going to pass these laws. Who is going to implement these things, and who is going to remove the barrier of these people? Because it's not the poor man on the street that is mining gold in Zamfara and buying helicopters and all that and using it for all of that. It's the same officials. So who is going to implement this, and how is it going to work? It's easy to list all these bills, but we know how everything is going to end up. They are going to kill it eventually, or even if it passes, it's not going to be implemented because they are the same ones involved. That's just my question.
Maybe not. Maybe, but we have to try. We have to keep trying. We'll send them our comments, follow through. And if it's killed, why was it killed? Why were in the recommendation? So we do still have some work to do on our side. And your comments are varied. And so we also need to make sure that the people we elect, or the people that represent us, are responsible, ethical, and accountable leaders that represent the interest of the people and not themselves. So we do have a lot of work to do. Thank you for those comments. So I'll take Ms. Temi, and then I'll take Professor Grange. If there are no other comments, I would hand over to my president and my first VP. They are also in the house. So go ahead, Ms. Temi. We've asked you to unmute. You can unmute. Yes.
I have, ma. Good evening again. I think this is so important. I remember watching a movie as a young girl, The Blood Diamond, and right from that movie, I've been very interested in issues of gold, silver, and the precious coins that Africans that we do have. And it's quite painful that I think our government needs to go back to the basic. Having this kind of just a nitty-gritty information about crucial, important resources. This is money in other countries. This is life. If we miss this point, I can envisage the life that will be lost, because everybody knows that if I have 1 kg of gold, I know what that means to me. I know what I will do with it. So the government needs to kind of first look at countries that have used their gold productively and use it to change the country, like Dubai, like Italy. Let's not even mention a lot of countries. Look at what they did. Look at what they used the money for. And then to use the resources, they should start from the people that owns those resources, the indigenous people, the people that lives in those environments. Use it to change their lives. And then we can now think of the nation enjoying and having the benefit of those materials. So it's very, very important. It's not just about making decisions about, well, we're having regulation, but it's actually having a benchmark for that regulation. What's our benchmark? Who are the countries that we want to mirror? Abuja was built on Milton Keynes in England. Oh, fantastic, good. Because somebody has a vision. The Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish. This they have no vision about. They have no clue. It's just, oh, we found a source of money again. Let's sit down on it. Let's tick the boxes. These are not tick boxes issue. This is so, so important. Above everything, it's so important. Because at the end of the day, Coastal Road is there, they're doing it. They've destroyed people's houses, properties. You're good, beautiful. But then they're going to do the same thing if they found gold in anything. If somebody's already living on those land, they will tell that person to move. So it's just massive. It's not even, they can't just kind of scratch the surface. They need to go really, really deep and make decisions that would impact people's life, that would change the nation, and it would also help Nigerians, currency and our financial situation as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And so just point of information, Dubai doesn't mine gold. It's a gold trading spot. So all the gold they get, most of it does come from Africa. Sadly, their gold does come from Africa, and Nigeria is becoming one of the largest supplier of gold to Dubai. Professor Grange, please go ahead, ma.
Thank you very much. Well, I think these serious aspects of gold mining have been mentioned, but let me just include another one, that is the environmental implication.
Mm-hmm.
When gold is contaminated by heavy metals, so as it is mined, if there is rain or water anywhere, it washes away some of the heavy metals into the drinking water of people. And lead gets into this water, the children drink the water, and they become cognitively affected. They lose, they virtually become imbeciles, So it's not easy. It's not a game to have a gold mine being legally mined. It is something that has to be taken very seriously, because even the people who are around there, who should be having, they should be enjoying the fact that they have gold there, they are being destroyed. Their children are, they are being made useless. And nobody talks about that. So the environmental aspect of this bill has to be strengthened. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for all your comments. I'm going to hand over to Mr. President now. And before I do that, I just want to take a couple of announcements. Again, I want to thank everyone that responded to the expression of interest for the Youth Leadership and Governance Development Program. This is part of why we do this. And what we always say is like, we're not just building the generation of the next of leaders of tomorrow, but leaders of today, as they begin to take their rightful place to influence decisions that impact us today and in the future. So that is a program that we are very excited about. It's taught under our School of Leadership and Governance, and the program will be rolling out in January next year. So the curriculum is out, and there's still interest. We're still looking for mentors, practical training. We want the graduates from this program to also serve to be mentored by responsible, ethical, and accountable leaders We also have the Ito Olajide Godalo Mentorship Program, and that's ongoing. I think we graduated our third cohort. So there are ways that you can get involved and also transfer your knowledge to those that are really looking for it, to those that need it, which is the next generation. We have so many initiatives here at the Africa Leadership Group, ALG, that you can be a part of. We have the FanFan, Feed a Neighbor, Feed a Nation initiative that we provide food to those that economically disadvantaged. The next one is coming up in VI. I think it's on the 1st or 2nd of November. We would have that flyers to you, and we get dry goods that we distribute to those that are in need. And we've had a lot of donors that have supplied foodstuff to us. So we want to thank those people that God has used to really bless this initiative, both financially and also in kind, and the volunteers that we have. So thank you very, very much. I put a link in the chat room for you if you're interested in joining ALG and what we do here. Please complete that form and we will be in touch with you. Last week at the after party, we started to talk about rolling a plan out, a 3-part plan, which is leadership selection ahead of 2027. And this is the time for us to do it. And then what is important to Nigerians when they come with all their shiny manifestos? What is our feedback to say this is what we need you to address? Is it insecurity? Is it mining? Is it health? So we need to have input in how we are being governed. And so that's the second thing that is going to be in that rollout plan. And the third one is how do we measure success and how do we hold them accountable? So that's an initiative that Mr. Kintebe and Dr. Achike are going to be helping plan, and all of us are involved in this. So we probably reach out to you and have a session of what that looks like for us. So thank you, everyone. And we meet again next week, Thursday, and I'm going to hand over to Mr. President. Once we have a draft of the summary of this, we'll probably share it with those of you in our groups. Most of you are in our network. I will send it for final and then before we send it off. So thank you again and God bless you. Over to you, sir. Can you hear? Are you okay? While we're waiting, Pastor Sonny, do you have any comments before we bring up Mr. President?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jumoke. I think a lot of comments have been made, and we'll answer all these comments. I want to thank everybody that has spoken. They have spoken very, very well. Some very, very fantastic suggestions have come up. Biggest problem with us in Nigeria is enforcing rules. We can make all the bills, we can write all the laws, but enforcement, the very people who will be charged with enforcing it will circumvent them. Like somebody said, if you go to the center that you're supposed to take a test, they will tell you if you pay 3,000, you pay the test. How do you deal with that one? You understand? Just how do you deal with that? Why? Because the people are hungry. Because the government is paying the officer who is supposed to be testing you 30,000 or 50,000 as salary. And the man comes from a weather to VI to do his work. And so there are so many issues in Nigeria. But like we keep dealing with what we can deal with. Because the corruption is deep and it's pervasive. And just making laws alone will not address the behavioral nature of our people. Unless there's equity, unless there's justice, unless there's fairness, unless there's commensurate reward for work to match standard of living, we may wait for a while to get to the place where we want to go. So there is a lot of pieces to put together, in my view, not just one law about doing this. But you know, it's good that we speak to these issues, and that's why we keep emphasizing leadership from the top, because who will stop all this is when it starts from the top. If the president is not doing, he can hold the ministers accountable. If they do anything, he fires them. The minister is not doing, he can hold the PAMSECs and directors accountable. If they do anything, they have the authority of the president to fire them. The police, and you know, I think we have to fire like 7 inspector general of police, 10 if possible, until we get the one that is ready to hold all the commissioners in the state and DPOs accountable. But when we say these things, people say, oh, the president cannot do everything. Yes, he can't do everything, but he has the power, he appoints them. And if he sets the direction, everything falls in place. So it's not so much about making laws or not creating councils, it's implementing them and implementing them fairly. And then giving the people who implement them the leverage to be able to do it well. You give policemen, you know, guns to go and stay on the streets. Meanwhile, you pay them peanuts. It's like, I mean, hungry men to go and stay on the streets. So all these things are part of what it is. But, you know, they have come up with these proposals. We must make our inputs, and then we must also remind them that implementation is key. Accountability is key. So I want to, first of all, once again, appreciate everybody that has contributed to these things that we are speaking. And advocacy for a change involves all Nigerians, but we must never cease to speak to where we think we can get the leverage to do what we need to do, which is coming from the top. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your comments. And I don't know if Mr. President is available to close.
Well, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
just
Over to you,
to,
sir.
I think, yeah, thank you, Jumake. Thank you for masterfully conducting this session. I think it is something we should do like every quarter or at least twice a year, because you see a lot of these things that have gone in the National Assembly and all these bills that are being passed, a lot of us don't even bother to take cognizance of it. And therefore, before we know it, they've passed the bill through and somebody has taken advantage of something and so on and so forth. So I think we should review on a regular basis what is happening in the National Assembly and even in 1 or 2 critical state assemblies, so that we know exactly, even if the people are working. What we also probably need to do one day is to review the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, what are the highlights of that Constitution that might be stifling growth and economic development and so on and so forth? What are the highlights of that Constitution that is unfair, that is undemocratic? I think somebody had done a review of it for us before. I think Mr. Johnson, SAN, maybe it's time to take another peek at it and summarize it for all of us on this platform, so that we all have an idea of what's going on in our constitution. Well, I think what we need to also begin to look at very critically is how we can really ensure, come 2027, that the political process is at the first instance flawless. I think the new INEC chairman has boasted and said that he's going to make sure that the results that the elections that he conducts, they are all credible. We have to take him up on that. And if anybody can get him to come to this platform to tell us exactly what he's going to do to make those elections credible, it would be nice to know that. Then we also need to begin to look at how we ensure that it's one thing for the elections to be credible, it's another for them to be totally monetized. They're going to be monetized again this time around, or are people all going to compete fairly? To be honest, I'm not too bothered. Well, I'm bothered the quality of people who govern our nation, Nigeria. But the first primary bother, I think Nigeria needs to be looked at from 3 or 4 processes. First of all, the system and the process that throws up leadership. The process that throws up leadership. I think now it is seriously monetized, is seriously politicized, is seriously godfathered. And therefore, it's unlikely that in that kind of process, except there's a bit of God's divine interference, it's unlikely the people will get their preferred choice. Because when you have a system that does not throw up the best automatically, that most things are based on nepotism and things like that, it is unlikely to give you the quality that you want. So we need to review the political system in Nigeria, the political system and its process of throwing up leaders. For example, in China, before you aspire to national leadership, you would have performed very well at local government. So from local government up to province, from province to state, from state to national. So by the time you get to national, there's a weeding out process that makes sure that only the best come in. In Singapore, there's a criteria. You must have worked high in government with results to show, or you must have led a Fortune 500 company with at least 500, 1,000, or maybe 5,000 staff. I can't remember. So your performance there would have been reviewed. You mustn't have a traffic offense. You mustn't have been caught with any form of drugs. You must have at least an MBA, a master's, 2 degrees, and so on and so forth. So there's a minimum criteria, and means, of course, that by the time you're aspiring to presidency, you're already a public figure whose records and thoughts and opinions and attitudes are very well known. So people know what to expect of you, and so on and so forth. So we need to, if necessary, pass a bill for leadership criteria in Nigeria, such that some people who don't have certain capacities and criteria cannot aspire to certain offices. In this century, for you just to be primary school teacher, living certificate, and then you want to be president, I think that criteria is inappropriate, inadequate, and unnecessary, and so on and so forth. I think that's one of the things Nigerians can try and do to help themselves. Then, of course, we then need to look at the monetization of the process. How can we get a system where it is not just money that is important, where the process of campaigning is not so expensive, where maybe the parliamentary system might be what you want to look at, such that anybody can afford to do their own local campaign and not do a national campaign that you have to fund. It means straight away some very good people who have not made money one way or the other are out of the race. And that is rather unfortunate, except, of course, if they get a group of people to come around them to sponsor them and so on and so forth. But then when people sponsor you, they also make demands on you. So that's the second thing we need to look at. And then finally, we need to look at the process itself. The process itself in that order. Because if you scale 1 and 2, then the process will always produce a bad result. Because even though the process is fair, is equitable, transparent elections and all that, but if you have 2 bad candidates or 3 bad candidates running for office, it means that the outcome will be a final bad candidate. So we need to look at it and see how we can contribute our quota to rescue the nation. Well, I think our conversations today have been superb. I think the level of questions, comments, and awareness is outstanding. And I look forward to a truly great Nigeria. Once again, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being part of this conversation. Thank you all for your support. It is because we know that you'll be there 5 o'clock on Thursdays is part of the things that has kept us going I will not say it's been easy. Thank God for a fantastic back office, very cooperative, very quick on their feet. But it's not been easy, Thursday after Thursday. But we know that on that Thursday, some people are out there waiting to hear what ALG has to say. We believe in African leadership. We believe in African emancipation. We're determined to see a better African continent, because a better African continent is best for the whole world. Thank you all very much for everything. I pray that the good Lord will bless you. The good Lord will look after you. The good Lord will strengthen you. The good Lord will make his face to shine upon you. The good Lord will comfort those who are mourning. The good Lord will direct our paths. Give us healing. Give us strength. Heal our nation, Nigeria, and heal our continent, Africa, and bless every African. If there be any curse, ancestral yoke, any cause of harm affecting us as Africans, by the grace and mercies of God, that curse is broken. That curse is destroyed. Africa will be free. Africa will be great. Africa will be wonderful. And it will be well with every single one of us. In Jesus' name, we have prayed. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Have a fantastic rest of the evening and a beautiful, beautiful weekend. For those who are in Nigeria, at Trinity House, we're having our 24 hours praise on the 1st to the 2nd. You're cordially invited. Also on Sunday, 9 o'clock, Cosmas Maduka will be there talking about breaking barriers. Breaking barriers. How can you start from nothing like he started and become a man of resource and means like he has become? Let's break that barrier. And if you are anywhere in the world, I guess you should tune in also, so that wherever you are, you can break that barrier also. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Jumoke?
Yeah. Auntie, 1 second. I just want to make sure that we've ended the session so that the after party
Please,
can stand.
the after party. Please
Can
invite
you
people.
turn off
Please
the
invite people.
YouTube?
Please invite